I don't appreciate the smirk. Rosen, Hegseth clash over Loomer involvement in personnel decisions. Hey y'all, and welcome to Malcolm Barron Hearing. My name is Malcolm, and Senator Rosen just torched the Pentagon over anti-Semitism and political puppetry, exposing how a neo-Nazi-tinted scandal is being buried beneath Trump-era double standards. And the secretary? He sat there smirking like it was open mic night at Mar-a-Lago. Let's dive in.
Senator Rosen, you're recognized. I thought I would just create a stir down there.
No, I thank you to my seatmates on both sides. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We take care of each other. And again, thank you, Chairman Wicker, Ranking Member Reed, for holding this hearing. Mr. Secretary, we have a short amount of time, so I'm just going to ask a few simple questions, and I would just appreciate if for some of them, you would just answer yes or no. And so, Secretary Hegseth, would you agree that every senior official in the Department of Defense must reflect the values and conduct that our service members must uphold and our citizens expect?
Senator, we want to uphold the highest possible standards.
I'll take that for a yes. So would you also agree, then, that anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories have no place in our government or military? Yes or no?
They should not.
Thank you. So would you also agree that anyone who has posted, and I'm going to quote, anti-Semitic conspiracy theories lifted right out of a neo-Nazi playbook, end quote, shouldn't be anywhere near a position of power? Yes or no?
Since I don't believe the characterization of many officials in the news media, I would need to see precisely what's being characterized.
But generally, would you not say that if
generally
we
speaking,
thought something
sure,
was coming out of a neo-Nazi playbook, it doesn't have any place in our Department of Defense? Now, Secretary Hegseth, the quote that I just read you was referencing Ms. Kingsley Wilson, the DOD press secretary. It's a direct quote from her, who my Republican colleagues on this committee have also expressed alarm over due to her comments. In fact, one colleague said, and I'm going to quote again, obviously I don't agree with her comments. I trust the Pentagon will address this, end quote. However, in the months since, not only have you not addressed these anti-Semitic comments, you have promoted Ms. Wilson. This seems to be at odds, honestly, with President Trump's commitment, very public commitment to combat anti-Semitism, which you just said you too agreed with. So, Secretary Hegseth, given the rise in anti-Semitic violence, hate crimes in our nation, and to show that the Trump administration, your administration, does have a zero-tolerance policy for anti-Semitism, will you dismiss Ms. Kingsley from her role as a U.S. military spokesperson today, yes or no?
Again, that's why I referenced the context and characterization.
Oh, we'll send you the quote,
I've worked directly with her. She does a fantastic job, and there's any suggestion that I or her or others are party to anti-Semitism is a mischaracterization attempting to win political points.
Sir, and I'm going to
Senator, you're attempting to win political points on the backs of mischaracterizing the statements of a member of my department, and I'm not going to stand for that.
You are not a serious person. You are not serious about rooting out, fighting anti-Semitism within the ranks of our DOD. It's despicable. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'm going to move on to General Hawk. The sudden inexplicable dismissal of General Hawk. He serves both director of the National Security Agency, commander of U.S. Cybercom. It's deeply concerning, raises significant questions about the decision-making process, its potential consequences. Public reports indicate that the removal of General Hawk, who has served his country proudly, has been influenced by social media influencer, a personality on social media, Laura Loomer, spreads conspiracy theories. She's been denounced even by Republicans. And the idea is that any leaders within our agencies responsible for our nation's security, somebody would be dismissed based on the advice of a social media influencer is alarming, to say the least. It's surely not how we should be running our military. So were you consulted regarding General Hawk's dismissal, yes or no?
Well, Senator, I would not advise believing everything you read in the media. And I'm consulted on every single decision.
Okay,
I'm the decision maker for the department, and we all serve at the pleasure of the president.
Okay.
And
so
we have the prerogative to make those decisions the best for the country, and we did that.
Did you personally approve Mr. Hawk's dismissal, yes or no?
Anyone coming or going at the Defense Department, especially at that level, would ultimately be a decision made by me, and I stand behind that.
Did you personally relieve him? Did you personally relieve him? Yes or no?
Anyone at that level
You did,
who is
so that's a
relieved
yes.
would be relieved by the Secretary of Defense.
Was there a specific justification for General Hawk's dismissal? Was there a specific justification for General Hawk's dismissal?
Ma'am, we all serve at the pleasure of the President, and the President deserves the type
it
of
true?
commanders and advisors that he thinks will best
Did you
equip him
discuss General
to
Hawk's
accomplish the
dismissal with
mission.
Laura Loomer prior to his removal?
I don't discuss who I talk about anything with, but ultimately this is my decision, and he serves at the pleasure of the President, and that's why he's no longer there.
So do you believe it's appropriate for any social media personality to influence personnel decisions in your department, yes or no?
I believe your time is up, Senator.
Oh, it is not up to you to tell me when my time is up.
Well, the time
And I am
of the
going to say,
senator.
Mr. Secretary, you're either feckless or complicit. You're not in control of your department. This is unserious. It is shocking. You're not combating anti-Semitism within your ranks. It's a dangerous and pivotal time in our nation's history. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back. And I don't appreciate the smirk, sir. You are the Secretary of Defense.
The time of the gentlelady has expired.
After Senator Rosen's fiery clash with Secretary Hegseth over conspiracy theorists influencing military decisions, the tension in the room didn't cool down. It only shifted. Up next, Senator Kennedy steps in with his trademark bluntness, pressing the Army Secretary with a piercing question about worldview. Let's take a look.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll try to land this plane within my time. I want to tell you briefly how I see the world and invite you to tell me if I'm wrong. I think President Xi and President Putin and the Ayatollah in Iran are working together. I think that President Xi is the quarterback. I think their goal is to have Russia dominate Central and Eastern Europe, to have Iran dominate the Middle East, and to have China dominate the Indo-Pacific while being free to roam in sub-Saharan Africa and South America and space. I do not want America to be the world's policeman, but I don't want President Xi or President Putin or Iran to be the world's policeman either. Do I see the world in the right way?
I would tell you, Senator, that we are seeing them. I don't know specifically what their ambitions are, but we do see them working together and doing some of those things against our interest.
General, I need you to, both of you fine gentlemen, to look us in the eye and tell us what you think. I understand you got to choose your words carefully. You don't want to get put on double secret probation. But we've got some hard decisions to make here. And there's a consensus, I think, in the Congress to give you more money. Because I think we need to spend more money on defense. But you're going to have to give us straight answers and tell us what you think. Mr. Secretary, am I right or wrong?
Senator, your question of one of your colleagues said it earlier, $185 billion is a lot of money. If we are given more money than is in the budget that you've seen, we will be good stewards of that and innovate even faster. I think what we are saying to this committee is we believe we can transform the Army with those amount of dollars as long as we are able to use them the way that we want to, and we are not
Tell
jammed.
me again the amount of money you need for the Army transformation.
We can use our current budget and transform the Army as long as we're able to spend it the way that we believe is right.
How much money do you think we need to spend as a country to maintain or either, depending on your perspective, reach parity with China?
I think the president has mentioned between the two bills $1 trillion for the DOD.
Okay. Do you trust Europe to spend more money?
I'm sorry, Europe.
Do you trust Germany to spend more money? They've talked a good game.
When I was out with NATO with Ambassador Whitaker and talked to a lot of our colleagues in the NATO countries. And as far as I could tell qualitatively, they believed it seemed to be that they were going to start to spend significantly more.
General, do you trust the United Kingdom to follow through and spend more money?
I mean, all I've gotten, Senator, is what they said that they were going to do with their new defense review, that they said that they were going to raise, their spending on defense.
Based
So
on your
it'll remain to be
experience,
seen.
do you believe them?
I mean, I think we're big believers in we'll see. I think action is what counts in some of this. There's certainly been a whole bunch of our allies that have done that when they've called for.
Tell me, General, how you think the war in Ukraine relates to our struggle with China. Are the two inextricably linked, or do the two have nothing to do with each other?
Well, I think, Senator, everybody is watching that fight right now, taking lessons from it. I think everybody's doing that. I think everybody is looking. I get a lot of comments.
General, I know everybody's watching. I got that part. We're all watching. Do you think what we do in Ukraine impacts our struggle with China or not? Give me a straight answer.
I do think our partners and allies are watching what we're doing and how that turns out. Yes, Senator, I agree with that.
All right. Last question, because I'm going to land this plane. How's our recruiting coming?
We're dominating recruiting and retention.
Why is it better?
We made some structural changes and the return to a focus on lethality among our leadership.
What structural changes did you make?
We created a future soldiers prep program that gets soldiers or future soldiers who are right on the edge and helps get them a little bit more training before they join. And then there were problems with when we transitioned over to digital medical records. We were catching things when kids were younger, and we didn't have in place the mechanisms to get those waivers, and we have improved there dramatically.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
In a powerful and uncompromising exchange, Senator Rosen called out the Defense Department's refusal to hold senior officials accountable for promoting anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. She questioned Secretary Hegseth about Kingsley Wilson, the DoD press secretary, who had echoed rhetoric lifted straight from neo-Nazi playbooks, yet was not disciplined but promoted. Rosen pressed Hegseth for a simple yes or no answer. Should someone with such views be anywhere near the levers of power in our military? He dodged. Again and again. What followed was a heated confrontation, with Rosen accusing the secretary of either being reckless or complicit in the administration's failure to root out extremism within the Pentagon ranks. But the senator didn't stop there. She pivoted to another disturbing incident, the sudden and unexplained dismissal of General Hawk, head of the NSA and U.S. Cyber Command. What made it more alarming? The rumor that the decision may have been influenced by far-right social media figure Laura Loomer, someone known more for pushing debunked conspiracy theories than offering any credible national security insight. When pressed, Secretary Hegseth admitted he made the decision but refused to offer any legitimate justification, instead brushing off concerns as media speculation. This hearing laid bare a frightening trend. Senior defense leadership enabling political appointees and fringe ideologues while refusing to take responsibility or uphold the core values of the U.S. military. Senator Rosen's righteous outrage captured the moment perfectly. Her voice is a reminder that public service demands moral clarity, not deflection, smirks, or silence. But the scrutiny didn't end there. Coming up next, Senator John Kennedy cuts through the fog with a brutally honest question to the Secretary of the Army. Do I see the world in the right way? What follows is a revealing back and forth on China, Russia, defense budgets, and whether America's allies can be trusted to step up. It's blunt, unscripted, and critical to understanding the stakes we face. Stay with us. More truth and accountability ahead. This is Malcolm Viren Hearing, and I'm Malcolm. See you in the next clip.